What's your style?
My style? You can call it the art of fighting without fighting.
The art of fighting without fighting? Show me some of it.
Later.
Hey, welcome to another Jellyfish. This is part 3 in a 3-part series on how to fight. And so I hope this was a beneficial time. I really have emails and comments that have been posted. And I've been learning a few things along the way as well. So let's wrap up this 3-part series on how to fight. Now let's clarify again. Jesus isn't talking about how to put them up. You know, he's talking about using your brain to turn the tables, if you will. So let's pick it up in the Matthew chapter 5, verse 41. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. Give to the one who asks, and do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you. Let's hang out on verse 41 again. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. Now, what's interesting about this verse is that, again, this verse can be used as a generosity verse, when in fact this really isn't the case at all. This should just be natural for a Christian to be generous, to be benevolent, if you will, to help people out. I don't know that there's a need for a whole lot of scripture to encourage us to be generous. It's just something that Christians ought to do and not be selfish. So this isn't really what it's going after. What it's talking about is how to turn the tables on somebody. Now, usually we understand it as a verse where, again, we should roll over. Well, you know, if you're a Christian, you should go the extra mile. No, that's really not what it's talking about here. You see, Roman soldiers had the right to impose forced labor on people. Okay, again, we talked about the upper crust and the common people. We talked about in the last one where the upper crust would literally rob people through heavy taxes, and thus giving them your coat. But in this situation, they can also enforce labor on people. Now, what's interesting about this, if you look up Jewish tradition and Roman law, is that they could take somebody and force them to do labor to carry their packs, but only 1 mile. Are you seeing where I'm going here? What's happening here is that if you go 1 mile, you're doing what the Roman soldiers asked you to do. If you say, well, no, let me go that extra mile for you, there can be very strict repercussions on that Roman soldier for making you go an extra mile. So essentially what's going on here is Jesus is saying, hey, if they're going to force you to do something, you know what? Go the extra mile. In other words, go ahead. Maybe even turn the tables on them, get them in trouble, because this is something that would not be good. What Jesus taught here is that get the soldier in trouble by going the 2nd mile. Interesting, isn't it? I find this interesting quote here. It says, when subjected to harassment and intimidation, turn the tables. Don't fight on their terms and their methods. Don't do to them what they do to you. Don't retaliate in kind. Be creative. Be innovative. Jesus taught his followers to react not in quarrelsome, hand-to-hand fighting, things like that. No, what he taught us to do was use our brain and to take the initiative, keep the initiative, be creative, innovative, courageous, and I think that's what Jesus would do. It's interesting when you think about verses like this. There's many more scripture that we look at that we just kind of breeze over. We take it one way, and then one day, all of a sudden in a study, you're like, oh, so this is what it really means. This Sunday I'm doing that with a passage from the Romans Road, you know, the multi-step program that Christians will often use to lead someone to Christ. So it's a lot of fun. Dive into Scripture. Find out what different things the Scriptures are saying. Share it with us. Share it with me. You can email me, vtwinrev@thatsnotmygod.com. Post right here on YouTube, and I'd love to hear from you. Have a good day.